This is To Your Success Radio. And now your host, Bob Chapman.
Welcome everybody to this week's edition of To Your Success Radio. I'm your host, Bob Chapman, and every week we try and give you something that's useful, and sometimes it's a lawyer, sometimes it's an accountant, sometimes it's a small business person, sometimes it's a medium business person. They define the success as they see it for themselves in their lives. It's not up to us to define any of this. It's up to you. And we tell you all the time, it's a moving target. I mean, success is a moving target, so you got to figure out what you want to do. And, looking back over the past year and a half of shows, one of my favorite guests has blessed us and came back tonight. So I want to welcome back Erica Elia.
Yes, Erica Elia. Thanks, Bob.
From Classy Girl Cupcakes, which if you've listened to the show at all, you know that if I'm in the downtown area, I have to stop. I have to pick up something chocolate because I really enjoy it. So thank you for that, Erica.
No problem.
But, one of the things is when we first started talking about this, Erica, your road to Classy Girl Cupcakes was a very unexpected road. It wasn't like you planned earlier in life to become a pastry chef or make cupcakes, right?
No, I didn't. I'm kind of one of those people that doesn't have a straight path to anything I do. So I wanted to be a singer in high school. So I went to school at Lawrence and Appleton for vocal performance, and then quickly learned that was not really a viable career choice. So I changed my major to anthropology, which is also not very viable. So then I managed a clothing store for 3 years, and then I went to law school. So it totally makes sense that I would own a cupcake shop one day. So
I was going to say, I don't know many singing anthropologists, but then again,
no.
I don't know if anybody does.
Probably not.
So you went to law school, and then you became a practicing lawyer.
I did. I practiced for 5 years, and I was a personal injury attorney, which wasn't exactly where I pictured my law career going, but it was at a good firm, a very small firm, but it wasn't really as fulfilling as I hoped. So I got married in 2009, and at that point, I wasn't thinking career moves, but I wanted cupcakes at my wedding. And at that point, there weren't really a lot of cupcake options in Milwaukee. There weren't any cupcake bakeries yet. So I looked around at local bakeries to see what they could do, and I wasn't really impressed. So I just decided to bake them myself, which is kind of not the smartest thing. I wouldn't really recommend that any of your listeners go ahead and do that.
So for your wedding, how many cupcakes did you decide you have to make?
I think I baked about 180 cupcakes, which is way too many because I had 65 guests. So right now we advise people 1.5 to 2 cupcakes per person, but I baked 3 per person because I didn't know what I was doing. But they were really good, apparently, because everyone wanted to know where I got them and wanted to buy them. And so I just had this kind of aha moment where I wanted to just bake cupcakes for other people's weddings, and I had no idea what it would turn into. But I had one of my husband's friends was getting married a month later, and they asked if I would bake cupcakes for their wedding because they hadn't figured out a cake yet. So I said sure, and so I did it for their wedding. And in the meantime, I set up a little website with different flavors that I had come up with and different options. And for some reason, people really responded to the website, even though I had no advertising. It just must have come up in search forums because there weren't really any cupcake bakeries in Milwaukee. So I ended up booking 35 wedding cupcake catering orders for the first summer.
First summer you did 35 weddings.
35 weddings.
That's over 2 a week.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did you handle going from making 180 for your wedding to doing 2 full weddings a week?
Well, it wasn't that difficult because I wasn't planning my own wedding at the same time. So.
Okay, that was out of the way.
Yeah, I think it ended up being about 1 a weekend. There were a couple where it was 2 a weekend. And I did all the baking myself. And I did find out how to get licensed as a catering company and rented a kitchen and everything. So I made sure I was doing everything according to the law because that was obviously important to me. And I was still working full-time at this point as a lawyer, and I was also pregnant. I got pregnant about a month after our wedding, so I was, pregnant and baking cupcakes for other people's weddings. And I remember I gave birth on June 26, 2010. I actually baked an order the day I gave birth. So
really?
This is really important to me, I guess.
I think so.
Yeah.
So how did you decide, going in fresh? I mean, you had the training as a singer, an anthropologist. You ran a clothing store. You were a degreed lawyer. How did you decide, or how did you
make the leap?
Yeah, how did you say, oh, I know how to make cupcakes? I mean, had you always liked baking? Had you always toyed with it? What happened there?
I always liked baking. I kind of, at that point in my life, I liked baking as a hobby, so I would bake for other people and, bake birthday cakes and things. I never tried to, do it for orders until I started the wedding cupcake business. But I think the entrepreneurial spirit was always in my family, and my dad is an entrepreneur, and he worked full-time up until 1980, and that's the last time he had a full-time job. And he's been a coin dealer and antique dealer and kind of just branched off and did his own thing. And he always taught me it's always better to work for yourself than somebody else, and that he would never go back. And so that was instilled in me from a young age. And so I guess subconsciously I was always trying to figure out a way to do something on my own and to make something that was bigger than just working for someone else. And so this just seemed like a really good opportunity because, I'm one of my kind of mantras is create your own opportunity, because I never feel like you can't just expect anything to land in your lap.
Right.
There's good luck and chance and all those things, but you really have to go out and pound the pavement yourself and make it happen for yourself if you want it bad enough.
And if you have your own opportunity, someone cannot take it away from you.
That's a good point.
So now, since you were first on 15 months ago, I mean, we've talked a little bit, but there's been some changes in your business, right? And again, we're not looking for insider secrets, but obviously some good things happen. And with every good thing, there might be a bad thing, just because as businesses grow or shrink, there's adjustments that have to be made. So, what kind of things have you seen for yourself?
Definitely. Well, we've definitely grown. I think the last time that I spoke with you, we were doing about 8 to 10 weddings a weekend in the summer. So we have our store on Cathedral Square downtown, which I don't think I mentioned before. But so we do have a retail location now. I think I probably had maybe a dozen employees or so at that point. Right now, in the height of wedding season, we have about 20 employees. We're doing like 10 to 12 weddings a weekend regularly, and our busiest wedding weekend last summer was 17 weddings. We also sold at Summerfest, which was really exciting. I had actually been trying to get into Summerfest since we opened. That was one of the ideas I had, and I didn't realize how difficult it was to get into Summerfest. Because I actually sent in an application probably a couple months after we opened, and it took almost 3 years to actually get into Summerfest, which I guess we're really lucky in that respect, because a lot of people don't.
Okay, so for people, now we had talked about this a little bit. So for people who are looking to do a Summerfest, I don't know what you call it, a booth or stand, you put the application in there over 3 years ago. Now, in the intervening 3 years, what happened between you and them? Was there any kind of communication on your part to keep the name fresh? Was there anything from them saying you're moving up a list? I mean, how does that go?
My understanding is there isn't a list. Most of the vendors at Summerfest don't leave. So most of them stay there until something happens, like they can't physically do it anymore, or they close their business for some reason, because it is such a good opportunity that most of them stay there for decades. So I did speak with the food director, and he mentioned that there might not ever be an opportunity. But they created a new space last year. It was like a new vendor area, and they decided to put a couple of food vendors in there. So he thought of me for some reason, which was really great, probably because I kept bugging him, because that's what I do. So it was really great. It was a small space, a 10 by 10 tented space by the BMO Harris Pavilion, and we were kind of amongst clothing dealers and big chair photos and all kinds of other fun stuff. But it was really great. So we got a lot of press from it and a lot of business. A lot of business.
Mm-hmm. Those are some long hours that couple of weeks, isn't it?
It was.
Now, how did you facilitate just the logistics did you take truckloads at a time down or for the day, or what did you do with that?
That was really trial by fire. We didn't really know what was going to happen until it happened. So we did plan ahead for a certain stock level, and then we kind of just adjusted it as the days went on. So we were bringing things in every morning, and we had one of our employees was a designated shuttle driver who would shuttle stock back and forth and shuttle employees back and forth. And so I definitely have some more insight going into it this year of how to plan better. But I think overall we did a pretty good job at keeping the stock.
Okay. Now, that's what I was alluding to before before Erica started her discussion, was that as you grow and as as you get into Summerfest, there's all kinds there's challenges, and they're good challenges, but sometimes you have to, like you said, trial by error, and you have to adjust and go on the fly, right? I mean, you have to be, as an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur, you have to be flexible,
adaptable, yes.
And adaptable. That's even a better word. So was that the biggest challenge that you saw this year? Since your first appearance here, Erica?
Yeah, I would say so. Just because it was I guess it was a risk, because it was definitely a lot of staffing and a lot of product and a lot of investment that we put into it, just to make sure that it was profitable. And it wasn't hugely profitable the first time around, because I think I didn't organize it quite as well as I could have, but I knew that it was a great opportunity, and we're definitely excited to come back this year, and I'll have some adjustments, and I think it'll be better this time around. But it was definitely an awesome opportunity.
So needless to say, Erica, you're not going to give up your spot at Summerfest.
Oh no, right? You can't have it.
you had a lot of fun with it.
Yes, we had a lot of fun.
All right. Well, we just have a minute to our commercial break, so why don't we go through your address, your website, how to get in touch with you, Erica? How far up in advance do people have to plan an event, and why don't you just go into commercial break with that?
Sure. Well, our retail location for Classy Girl Cupcakes is downtown on Cathedral Square Park, and it's at 825 North Jefferson. We have a street front entrance. There's street parking there, and we're open for all the festivals late in the summer. And you can place orders online. We're redoing our website at the moment. It's classygirlcupcakes.com, but you're also going to be able to place orders online within the next few weeks, and you can call us or stop on in, and we always have about 25 to 30 flavors available every day.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a break and pay a couple of commercial breaks, and I'm going to have to I think I'm going to have to taste test one of the treats that Erica brought down for me. So this is Bob Chapman at To Your Success Radio. We'll be back after we pay a couple of bills, so stay tuned. Thanks. All right, this is Bob Chapman back at you with the second half of To Your Success Radio. And we have Erica from Classy Girl Cupcakes here today, which is always a great thing because she brings in samples, I should call them. If there's some way to send out the aroma and everything else over the airwaves, I would. But yeah, I guess you're just going to have to believe me, and I'm going to have to just eat them myself. So that's my load to bear tonight, folks, anyway. Erica, let's get back into this because we got so much to cover. How in the world do you come up with all your different flavors? You have 25 to 30 flavors a day.
And that's just what we make every day. That's not what we offer. We have tons and tons of flavors. So I guess I'm really creative, but I like to surround myself by other creative people. So
right.
A lot of times it's a collaborative effort. If someone comes up with an idea for a new flavor, we'll try it out. And I think, I just kind of get inspired by different things, like the custard flavor of the day, or a candy bar I saw. So we just kind of throw it in a cupcake and see if it works, and a lot of times it does.
Okay. Now, in your or in any of your employees or families off time, do you go someplace, or if you're someplace, you go to Chicago and you go, I really like this cupcake? Do you ever kind of?
I don't get out much. I really don't. It's really funny because I haven't been to a lot of other cupcake shops.
Okay.
I've probably looked at their websites, but I've been to the local ones in the Milwaukee area. But honestly, since I opened this business, and I have a 3.5-year-old daughter, which of course her age corresponds to the age of the company, if you figured that out.
Yes, I already knew that, but thank you.
So I really honestly haven't traveled much since we started. So yes, dear listeners, if you start your own business, be prepared to work an awful lot at it.
Yeah, we've had somebody on who said, you can start part-time any 12 hours of the day you want.
Exactly.
So let's just talk about the number of products that you offer in the flavors that you offer. I mean, I know I love cupcakes, but I mean, you got other stuff there, so.
We do. And this is something that is kind of interesting for me to watch as we grow, that we started out. I remember the day we opened, I think we had maybe 6 or 8 flavors of cupcakes, because that's all we could manage with the one employee that I had at that time. And now we make, probably 15 to 20 flavors of cake cupcakes a day. We do cheesecake cupcakes, which is kind of our specialty, that we're the only ones who make our cheesecake cupcakes. And we have probably 12 to 15 flavors of those every day. We also do cupcake mousse parfaits, which are amazing.
They're wonderful, in case anybody's wondering. If you love mousse.
Layers of cupcake, mousse, chopped candy bar, and buttercream. Kind of the best of everything we make in one cup. And then we make cupcake push pops, which are actually a hot seller at Summerfest, and that was something that we were actually on a few TV shows and advertising them, and it's kind of the hot new product at Summerfest. So we have those in the store every day. We also have a wonderful cake decorator, which when I started the business, I didn't really think that we'd be doing cakes because it wasn't really something I'm good at. And one of my maybe it's a hang up I have, but I feel like every product that we sell, I want to be able to master it if I have to. Because then if something ever happens to the employee who's good at it, then I can fill in. Cakes, I cannot decorate a cake for save my life. I'm not good at it. I have tried, and it's just not my thing. But at some point, I just had to admit that, the wedding clients that we have, they do want a special cutting cake. Some of them do want a tiered cake, and I'm not one to turn away business. Right. So I went ahead and hired a full-time cake decorator, and she's really amazing. She's actually been on a couple morning shows with me. So her name is Samantha Wright, and she does a great job. Okay. So all of our cake designs, like we do tiered wedding cakes, we do gourmet layer cakes that you can just purchase, like a cake that feeds 10 people for a birthday party. We do smash cakes for first birthday parties and all kinds of fun little stuff. We even started doing donut cakes. So
really,
yes.
Okay. So really, from your initial idea and the fact that you want to do cupcakes, you've kind of come done a 360-degree circle. You're back to having also offering cakes, which is okay. Which
I didn't really think that I would. And we actually, it's funny because we got nominated on the A-list this year for Best Bakery, which all of our
congratulations.
Cupcake... Thanks. We didn't win it. It was our first year. We're going to win it next year, though. People, help us out. But I think that's kind of funny because we were nominated in the Best Bakery category where all of our other cupcake competitors were nominated for Best Desserts. So we must have... Okay. Someone out there must be thinking that we do have a full-service bakery, which is kind of fun that we do.
Now, since you brought up cakes, can you make it? Can your staff make a cake in any of the flavors you make a cupcake in?
Almost, yep.
Almost?
Yeah, I think we have on our website, there's a page called Layer Cakes, and it has about 40 different flavors that we make in our cakes. So we can usually translate a cupcake into a cake. But that's something that's really important, too, is that we bake everything from scratch, and everything's with the most natural ingredients we can find. We don't use fondant, which is that smooth, rubbery icing. Mm-hmm. So we try to keep everything as baked fresh and natural as possible. So we can play around with a lot of different things because we know what's in everything. Yeah. And we can kind of create new recipes from things we already have. And so if you have an idea for a flavor, we've even created flavors for customers based on what they were looking for.
If somebody has an idea for a flavor, can they email it to you?
Sure.
How would they email it to you?
Our email address is info@classygirlcupcakes.com. So you can email us about flavors or we get a lot of inquiries about special dietary recipes, like we do gluten-free and vegan cupcakes and cakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let me just back up one second here. You had said in your doing the your own wedding, there was the aha moment where you went, okay, nobody else is doing cupcakes. I'm going to do cupcakes. You mentioned something in our I don't recall if it was in one of our conversations that when we're having a cupcake over your counter or your previous appearance, but you said that you found out that you liked the flavor and the effectiveness and cost effectiveness of making your batter from scratch.
Yes.
Now, how did you, as not being a trained pastry chef by degree, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, I'm not.
How did you go through that metamorphosis to come up with and find out that made so much sense?
Well, it never made sense to me to bake it from a mix. So that was, and this is something I did mention in our last interview, that most bakeries don't bake from scratch, which is so foreign to me and I didn't expect that coming into this business. But most wedding cakes are made from a mix. It's kind of like watching those cake shows on TV, like where they make a crazy cake that can spit fire and jump up and down, whatever. You never see them baking the cake. You see them taking it out of a drawer or a freezer and, molding a Rice Krispie dinosaur head and sticking a wooden dowel in it. And so a lot of cake is about it's about the art and not about the flavor necessarily. So that's something that's always been important to me, that if we were going to do cakes, we're going to do it right. We're going to make the flavor comparable to the design. And so that's, I mean, as far as cost effectiveness, I actually did have, and this was after I started, but I had one of our ingredient wholesalers to cost out how much it costs for us to make a cupcake, and it's quite a bit less from making it from a mix, which I never would have done anyway. But it just makes more sense that way, because we have a lot more freedom and flexibility, and we know what's going into our product.
Right. Well, I mean, that was fascinating, and I think that it's reflected in your flavor in every one of your cupcakes.
Thanks, Bob.
I mean, I know I'm probably an expert on your chocolate flavors.
Yes.
I can't attest to any much else, but
yes, Bob likes 2 flavors. He likes the Ghirardelli chocolate and the raspberry truffle.
There you go. All right, another baking secret revealed
There
right
you
here
go.
on To Your Success Radio. Now, right before the break, we talked about something quick, Erica, and that was about planning ahead for this upcoming season. Now, when should somebody get a hold of you if they're planning a May wedding, a June wedding? How soon can they book an appointment with you, or whatever the process is?
We recommend that people contact us as soon as they think about it, because we do book up, even though we take 10, 15 weddings a weekend, we'll never say no to baking the cupcakes. My philosophy is we can always hire more people.
Yeah.
So we'll never say no to baking the cupcakes, but we do have a finite number of displays, because we have 8 different cupcake display collections you can rent for your wedding cupcakes, and we just have one of each, and that's partly a storage issue that we don't have any more room than that, but we do book them in order that people have reserved their dates. So it's good if you can kind of come in and figure that out as soon as possible.
Okay. Now, and when does your season, your outdoor season, really gear up? Does it start with early festivals in May, or what are we looking at here?
Well, our wedding season really starts in May, so people do get married in other months of the year, but not nearly as much. So I'd say May to October is our big wedding season, and then for festivals like Jazz in the Park, which is right outside our door in Cathedral Square Park, that starts in the first Thursday in June and goes through September. And then Summerfest will be down at the lakefront for 2 weeks over 4th of July. And then Bastille Days is mid-July, and that's also right outside our door. And maybe we'll make an effort to go to State Fair this year. We'll see.
All right. Well, why don't you just refresh our listeners' memory with your website address and stuff in our last minute here, Erica?
Sure. Our website is classygirlcupcakes.com, and you can contact us by email at info@classygirlcupcakes.com or by phone 414-270-1877. And we're located downtown on Cathedral Square Park at 825 North Jefferson.
What are your hours again, Erica? I neglected to ask you.
Oh, sure. We're open 8 to 6 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 7 on Friday, and 10 to 4 on Saturday. And then in the summer, we're also open on Sundays, and we have extended hours on Thursdays as well.
Okay. In the last minute, I got to ask you one serious question. Do you have a favorite flavor?
Oh, my gosh. My favorite flavor changes all the time. I'd say right now it's probably vanilla salted caramel or cinnamon pecan French toast. Although we just made a new pistachio cupcake. That's really awesome. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we've burned through another half hour here at To Your Success Radio, and I want to thank Erica from Classic Girl Cupcakes for coming on again. If you're downtown in the vicinity, or if you're within a few miles, it's worth the drive. Erica, I can only tell you, obviously, I love the stuff.
Thanks, Bob. I love coming here.
So anyway, folks, 825 North Jefferson, correct?
Yes.
All right. So again, I want to thank Erica from Classic Girl Cupcakes for coming on. Check out her website. If you're in the vicinity, stop in and have a cup of coffee and a cupcake in her lobby, in her seating area there. So again, this is Bob Chapman at To Your Success Radio. I hope that it inspired something in you today. And till next week, take care of yourself and get after it.